pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Remember to silence your electronic devices. I would like to amend the agenda prior to us getting into the public hearing. I would like to add letter B, a proposed resolution to renew property and casualty insurance.
So moved.
Moved by trustee LeBeer, second by trustee Carvel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, so we'll open up the public hearing. I believe I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Carvel, second by trustee Simpson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So this is a public hearing on a proposed local law amending chapter 270 of the for taxi cabs. Amending the general code, the charges for transportation of passengers in a taxi cab to increase fees from a maximum of $5.25 to a maximum of $7 for 1 to 5 passengers, and from a maximum of $4.50 to a maximum of $6 for disabled and senior citizens for 1 to 5 passengers. Is there any comment from the public regarding this proposed change?
Can I find out the background behind this, why it's being raised? Was it requested or?
It was requested
was-
by the current provider with an excessive price of gasoline. And I don't believe the rates have been raised, and don't quote me directly on this, but over a decade. Any other public comments, questions?
Something in there. Looks like there's something in the chat.
No, that's just a notification for me.
Seeing no other public comments, I'll move to accept the motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Moved by trustee LeBeer, second by trustee Carvel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now a proposed resolution to adopt the local law which would raise the said rates from $5.25 to $7 and from $4.50 to $6 for disabled and senior citizens. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by trustee LeBeer, second by trustee Simpson. Any discussion?
Nobody likes an increase, but when you look at the cost that they're dealing with between wages and fuel,
Yeah.
I can understand the predicament they're in, so.
The company itself, when I talked to the owner, he wasn't happy about it, but in order to continue the service, it's either that or there won't be a service, so. Fortunate the times that we live in. Anybody else? This is a proposed resolution, so trustee Simpson,
Aye.
trustee Winston,
Aye.
trustee Carvel,
Aye.
trustee LeBeer,
Aye.
and I am an aye. Thank you. With that, we'll move into our regular board meeting. First up, the reports of officers and committees. Treasurer's report.
Everybody? We are almost through May, so looking at the summary, item number 1, we're getting pretty close. There will be adjustments that you're going to see in that net favorable column. Change could be drastically because of receivables and those kind of things, so don't exactly expect that to stay the same, so that's good. That it should stay the same. Next section is the rescue squad activity, summary year to date. As I was hoping that we would get to the point, getting 4 or 5 months into it, that we would break even and kind of cross that threshold, so we have. And a lot of the expenses, larger expenses, we paid for the year, so that should improve for the rest of the year, I would assume. Number two, the year-end projections, I just handed out to you. I just got them completed. Number three, we made our principal and semi-annual interest payment on the water treatment plant upgrade bond back in April 15th. Total was $202,000, consisted of $185,000 in principal and $23,062.50 for the interest. Balance is $840,000, that'll be paid off until 2026. Sales tax was received from the county, the 1st of May, in the amount of $505,911. Compares to just under $480,000 the same quarter last year, which is about a 5.4% increase. Year-to-date, we've received $1,661,495, where the same time last year, we received $1,566,998. So year-to-date, we are up approximately 6%. The re-levy resolution being approved tonight in the agenda is in the amount of $683,823.86. It's up $220,000. That's a typo, it should be $599.73. From $463,224.13 last year, so it's up 47.5% roughly. The reason for the large jump is that last year, if you remember, we weren't allowed to re-levy the water bills. So if they still remain unpaid, this year they're getting re-levied, so that's why it's a drastic increase compared to last year. Number 6, real property office is in the process of completing their tax roll. The final tax rates for the Village of Massena, West Massena, and Norfolk are as follows: $16, 5.507497, $20.379626, and $20.895493 per thousand, respectively. The reason they changed slightly, I'm learning now, last year was the first year, is that when we develop the budget, I have to use the assessments at the time back in January. And between January and March, when they close the file down, there can be some court-ordered assessment changes and those kind of things that can change the assessments, which is going to affect the rate a little bit differently compared to what we passed in the budget. So these are the final rates that I get actually from the county once we've kind of settled up and reconciled everything. So, and now we move on to the action items. Number 7 is a budget amendment for the DPW superintendent.
Entertain a motion?
Is that later on the agenda?
Oh, did you want to do them now, or do you want to do them later?
No, I took it off that part of the agenda. I didn't have the treasurer's report yet when it was,
So it's not on the agenda later on?
as a separate item, no.
But wasn't there another 10,000 that was gonna be needed? This is for 6.
No, it's an additional 12.
12,000.
12,
Okay.
and 2 trucks, yes.
So, this is the second increase,
Yes,
and no guarantee that this is it.
no guarantee.
I just, at what point are we gonna say, this is ridiculous, honor your quote and your PO? The ones we're replacing, how bad are they? I know that's,
And like I said, I can't guarantee you that, you know, the trucks that we have are gonna last 1 year, 2 year, another day. We have some trucks with serious frame deficiencies and it becomes a safety issue. Do I agree with what's going on? No. But the alternative is, they say, we'll let you back out of your purchase order. You know?
and there's no
You-
other companies.
Yeah. I've got five different dealers I've been dealing with, and we're all in the same boat right now.
And they're all doing
And
this.
it's gonna get worse. And like I think I told you that before. Come June 1st, we're already getting letters that supplies are, it's just skyrocketing.
Yeah, I understand the one surcharge coming back saying this happened, but it's almost like, oh, they said yes to this,
Well, and exactly.
Bet you they'll say yes to another.
And I think in the letter that I had him type up and give to me, so I could pass on to you, is that by the time them trucks get here in December, if they're here in December, there's no guarantees that he's not gonna be knocking on the door again. And I think when I sent an email to all of you, it's like, you know, we're at a point where, you know, if I could sit here and tell you tonight that those trucks will last another 2 or 3 years till we get through this, I can't.
And there's no way to lock in that price?
Pardon
There's
me?
no way to lock in the price and insist on no
No.
more increases?
How long have they been on order now?
These ones have been on order since, beginning of last year, the budget, which would have been June.
2021,
Yeah, yeah. So what we're gonna do is encumber these funds into the 22-23 budget.
So that's not, they're saying it takes a year and a half to build a truck?
Yeah. And then some.
Wow. I didn't think they're that big.
Workforce issue.
Okay. Thank you.
So we do need a motion if we're going to act on this?
What else can we do?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I'm not happy about it either. I hate to use the term price gouging, but boy, it sure does feel like that. Yeah, yeah,
But we need these trucks.
yeah, we do.
So I make a move that we approve the increase.
Moved by trustee Winston, second.
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Simpson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, the next one is a budget amendment for the joint rec director, who's looking to purchase new lights for the Bushnell Field and security cameras over at Cole Field that weren't originally budgeted for. I believe Mike is on Zoom, so if you have any questions, you can ask him. He listed these accounts of where he would like to move the money from within his budget to cover that.
Entertain a motion?
I'll make a move that we approve these purchases. We've talked about some of the reasons during past rec meetings for safety and.
Moved by trustee Winston, second. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Simpson. Discussion.
Director McCabe, can you speak to these fund movements and how you're taking the funds out of these accounts and what you're offsetting as a result of the movement?
Sure. So with the new lights at Bushnell, we had damage to one of the light poles. That was to replace just that pole was over it was about $19,000, and that was with the old style light. So what we're looking at here is replacing all of the lights with LED, in which we potentially would be getting support from Massena Electric to help cover the cost. That is basically our cost, not the actual cost of the entire light system. So what we're looking to do there is significantly greater than what the damage that was done. Certainly, I looked into insurance. Insurance only covered to $25,000. Like I said, our damage was only $19,000, but it was older damage. So, what would we be looking to do here is move it from a few different line items where it looks like we would have some additional funding left over. Much of this has to do with line items. I guess if you're looking at, we're based on the last four there are paid services line items that apply more to last summer's paid services. So the bottom one, the general playground. So we had a little bit of excess there because kids took days off of work. They had a wedding or something, so we had some extra money left over that we had a decrease there, and we didn't have anyone to replace them. The gate there, that 6,712. We didn't open the gate last year. That was provided for us by NIPA additional funding there as they approved that into the summer.
Okay,
And then,
so we're not talking any significant change to operations by making these
Correct.
decreases? Okay, thank you.
Correct. And so these are all contingency based on the fact that, hoping that we can get the work done by the end of May and install these.
Mike, let me ask you something. So obviously this is the joint recreation. Is the town of Massena going to reimburse all of this, for all of any of this?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
So does the town of Massena, is this just this is always just out of your budget that we approve both by the village and the town?
Correct. This is out of the joint budget for the
Okay.
town and the village.
All right, thanks.
Mike, how did the pole get damaged?
It was wind damage.
Okay.
I had visions of somebody hitting the car. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, Mike. Anything else, Scott?
Thank you.
The only, again, kind of reiterate the fact that, because we're so late in the year, through end of May, that if this doesn't happen by the end of the month, this move doesn't affect that. Then he'll have to do something for next year's budget.
Gotcha. Okay.
Clock's ticking.
Yeah. Okay, on with committee reports. Code enforcement, anything to report?
Minority.
I just want to add that it's that time of year again where we're out there starting to look at grass and trash and working our way through the community, trying to hit every street in the village at least once a week. So we are out there actively looking now.
Thank you. Economic development,
BDC has a meeting tomorrow that I believe I'll be able to attend, so.
okey-dokey. Fire committee, Mr. Carlo, Mr. Levere.
Everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy, it's always good. Always good. Very happy, the truck has been ordered, I signed the papers, and,
It's all been
Yeah.
enforcement process. Now it's the waiting game. We've been in contact with the salesman already a couple of times, working on getting our pre-build meeting together. Basically, what we have now is the chassis needs to be built, so that's the waiting game. So between now and the time that the chassis gets delivered to the company, we've got to get together and go through everything line by line now and make it all work, so.
super. Personnel,
Trustee Simpson and I attended interviews a couple of times in the past months, and we'll be talking about those items later.
I believe we're also starting interviews for
Senior council.
senior account clerk.
Awesome.
Those start Thursday and potentially Friday at the very end.
I think the office is going to be very excited to get someone to come. Police,
I want to thank the chief for their actions to get rid of another group out of New York City that's up here peddling their products. So I'd like to thank you for that, and I don't have anything else unless the chief has something.
Not at this time, thank you.
thanks, Chief. Rec Commission,
Neither one of us attended the rec meeting. It was changed from the normal date to Monday, the first Monday of the month, so.
a light pole was damaged.
They didn't say that.
We do know the ice came out though, May
Yeah.
1st. And they've been doing indoor lacrosse, they finished all the April house leagues. They're still looking for a few summer rec positions, and they did have to increase the rate for bus drivers. We were talking about the light at Bushnell Field, they're doing softball, And May 21st is the Ted Cop Fishing Day. That will be at Wilson Hill from 9 to 12. And they will be giving out free hot dogs for anyone that attends, and goodie bags with bobbers and lures. They did send out letters requesting donations. They generally receive about 600 donations, so they're looking to do that, and they generally have about 50 participants. They do have a few things this summer, Nerf Wars, and some events coming up. The beach is opening Saturday, May 21st, so that's the first official day.
Super, thank you. Street committee.
Okay, so DPW is busy, thankfully no more snow plowing, so it's on to street sweeping, checking the camera sewers, beginning some of the catch basin repairs. After that windstorm, they've had to clean up some of the tree limbs, repairing some of the signs. They had to cut up a large tree that fell at Cooper and Belmont. They had a sewer line repair by Honorable Deli. Spring cleanup was completed. And then that project on 108 North Main, we talked about that last month. They removed that porch and deck successfully. So thank you for that.
I'm guessing they're pretty busy last night.
Yes, and geez, pumping some cellars and sewers down by Sarah and Highland. They were there for, goodness, I want to say about 4 hours, if I'm not mistaken. I just, the volume of rain that we got was ridiculous. Over 3 inches in 20, yeah, that's a lot of water. So. Super. We're moving to the initial public comment period. Is there anyone that wishes to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on. Starting with under new business. So, we'll need a motion to award the bids for the water treatment plant supplies.
So,
Moved by trustee Carvel, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Winston. Any discussion or questions? I spoke with Nick, and he mentioned especially the price of chlorine is, well, the price of everything's gone up. But, you know, everybody's seeing the same thing, so that's why that bid is much higher than usual. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next up, a proposed resolution to re-levy the village taxes,
So moved.
Moved by trustee Lebeer, second.
second.
Second by trustee Carvel. Any discussion?
Treasurer, you mentioned we weren't able to re-levy the water last year. So in essence, this actually contains 2 years of water levies. Correct. Because the amounts we couldn't do last year and the amount we would normally do this year. So I just wanted to point that clarification out. Thank you.
Anybody else? This proposed resolution, so trustee Simpson? Aye. Trustee Winston?
Aye.
Trustee Carvel?
Aye.
Trustee Lebeer?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Thank you. Next, a proposed resolution to adopt the tax warrant. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Carvel, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Lebeer. Questions or discussion? This too is a proposed resolution. Trustee Lebeer,
Aye.
trustee Carvel,
Aye.
trustee Winston,
Aye.
and trustee Simpson.
Aye.
Carried.
Are you ready?
And I'm an aye, thank you.
See what he did there with that reverse order.
Yeah, I did. Well, Chad is really excited about that. He hasn't had to vote first in a long time. Okay, next, a proposed resolution for the mileage allowance during fiscal year 2022, 2023. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Lebeer, second by trustee Carl. Questions, discussion? Seeing none, trustee Simpson,
Aye.
trustee Winston,
Aye.
trustee Carvel,
Aye.
and trustee Lebeer.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as Next up, a proposed resolution for the attendance at schools and conferences during fiscal year 2022 and 23. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Simpson, second by trustee Carvel. Discussion. Seeing none, trustee Simpson,
Aye.
trustee Winston,
Aye.
trustee Carvel, trustee Lebeer,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Next, the proposed resolution to advance the approval of claims during fiscal year 22 and 23. I'll entertain a motion.
So
Moved by trustee Carvel, second by trustee Lebeer. Any discussion? Seeing none, trustee Lebeer,
Aye.
trustee Carvel, trustee Winston,
Aye.
trustee Simpson,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Next up, a proposed resolution to adopt the procurement policy for fiscal year 22 and 23. I'll entertain a motion. Moved by trustee Carvel, second.
Second.
Second by trustee Winston. Any discussion? Seeing none, trustee Simpson,
Aye.
trustee Winston,
Aye.
trustee Carvel, trustee Lebeer,
Aye.
and I am aye. Next, discussion, and we saying that this was coming up for the village vehicle usage. Francis, I noticed you did some research for us. Would you like to start us off?
Yes, I called the other 4 bigger municipalities in the county, asked them, again, I did this probably 12 years ago, nothing's changed with any other municipality. Out of the 4 municipalities, 1 allows 1 vehicle to be taken home, that's the village of Canton, allows their DPW superintendent who lives a couple
In the
miles
village.
outside of the village into the township, but they allow him to take the vehicle home. Other than that, there's no municipality that allows a village vehicle to be driven home like that. And one of the big things that I call, I believe it was the, Lori Cuellar, I believe her name is, Potsdam. And when I first mentioned that, the first thing she said was, do you know the liability you're opening yourself up to? That was her first statement when I asked if, I said, well, she said, you have, I said, we have quite a few of them. I don't know exactly how many, but we have quite a few. And so that was her first response. And that's what I said all along. It's a big liability issue. We dodged the bullet here a couple of years ago, and how much longer before we're going to not dodge it? So, once again, that's what the other 4 municipalities do. I gave all you a copy of the emails I got from each. I go to the village clerks. I believe usually the village clerk is the one that knows most about what's going on in the village.
Thank you.
But it is what it is.
I was gonna correct you and tell you one of them allows like 7 or 8, and then I realized I was reading our policies. One of those days. I definitely agree some type of change to our policy is needed. We got quite a few vehicles that go home. We have great employees, but even great employees make mistakes. And, that vehicle that they're taking home might be parked behind their personal vehicle. They might be running late. They just gotta run down the road to a store, things like that. I can tell you that in this past month, I've seen a couple of instances where I've seen a village vehicle where I would not have expected it to be during a time frame that I would not have expected it to be. So I think something has to change, especially if the board is going with enterprise. I know that's a item again on tonight's agenda, and I wasn't at the last meeting, but so much of what they project for savings is based on equity. So protecting
Fewer miles means more equity.
Absolutely, and you combine the risk of losing that equity with the risk that exists, as trustee Carbo said, with liability, and it really is critical that we shrink down somehow.
Yeah, and I know even the county, if I'm not mistaken, I know that those cars used to go home with like like say DSS employees who were on the road the next day, they don't, they park them. Matter of fact, I think there's one that's usually parked out in our parking lot, that's where it's,
Yeah, that's what that
yeah,
is.
yeah. So I agree, there needs to be a change in the policy. The question is, how do you want to go about doing this? Are we looking at doing something tonight? Would you like to put together a working group that can come back with a policy for us next month? I don't want to drag this out. We're going to do this. Let's do it and have it done for the next board meeting. Or it's the will of the board.
I think we can move on. Francis, first of all, thanks for doing the homework. A lot of great points were mentioned, and in addition to our employees making mistakes, there's lots of people on the road that are not our employees that make mistakes. So I think if we keep dragging it out, it's only going to become a burden. Let's just jump on it now.
I have no problem not acting on it now. The one group that I still think, if we're going to let anyone take a vehicle home, I do think the detectives and the chief need access to a vehicle to get right to a scene. By evidence of the shooting, the attempted shooting that they had to deal with. I think, and in that regard, I think Massena's not, we're not dealing with the same problems that Potsdam and Canton are dealing with. So I think it's important that our detectives and the chief have access to their vehicles to get right to the scene. But we should also lay down a stricter policy in regards to, we don't want to see that vehicle really outside of the village. I think, do some detectives live outside the village, chief?
Lieutenant lives outside the village. We have a pretty strict policy. Administrator has the signed agreements that are required for anybody with a take-home vehicle to have to sign that lays out exactly what they can and cannot do with that vehicle. They are not, basically the crux of it is they cannot use it for any personal use whatsoever.
With that being said, can I just ask too, are there any exceptions to the rule where it would make sense? Because I'm just thinking of the DSS example where, say, a caseworker is driving from Massena to Canton to get the vehicle, then Canton has to report to a whatever in Potsdam. So like in your case, are there any situations where it is necessary, or do you also think that it's
Necessary for?
someone to take it home? Does,
It's all their equipment, their evidence equipment, their raid equipment minus weapons are stored in that vehicle, and the beauty of having that available is they can go immediately. There doesn't have to be any switching of vehicles, doesn't have to be going back to the station to get all their stuff and then going, especially if it's a very dangerous situation like shooting or an armed robbery. They can go directly to the scene and just get to work, or they can go in directly to wherever they need to get to. They just immediately get to work.
in an emergency situation? Because I don't want this to take away from your people